Hey guys, it's Nik the Booksmith. Welcome back, welcome back. Recently, someone asked me to show how I made my little DIY 45-degree angle cutters for the book cloth. And these are some that I have made for cutting book cloth at the corners of bookboard. So, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, let's just say this is my book cloth. And let's say this is my, and let me put it down here so you can actually see it, you know, whatever. And let's say this is my book board. And you want your book cloth to be about 3/4 of an inch all the way around bigger than what your book cover is going to be. So we're just going to guesstimate here. And what the corner jig does is you slide this under the edge and it fits right here around the corner, and then that gives you the 45-degree angle to cut that off. And the key to making one of these jigs is that you need to know how much space to leave between the corner of your book cover board and where you're going to be cutting that 45-degree angle off. You cannot cut it, you can't cut it and have it where it just meets the corner, because you won't have enough material to cover this up when you turn those edges over. So the rule of thumb is that you measure how thick your book board is, and this one is 2 millimeters. So it's 2 millimeters thick. So what you do is you multiply 2 millimeters by 1.5, which is 3. So you want to leave a 3 millimeter distance between the corner of the book board and wherever that 45-degree angle is going to be cut past. You want to make sure that there's a 3 millimeter gap in there so that you'll have plenty of material when you cover the edge of the board. So let's make one, then that'll give you a good idea of how to make one for yourself. Your book board is going to be all different thicknesses unless you order book board from the same company that has the same thickness, like you order that thickness of board. I have different thicknesses of board for different kinds of books. Bigger books sometimes need heavier, thicker book board, and smaller books can use a thinner book board. So I have several of the little corner jigs because they're not all going to have that same gap measurement. But once you get the technique down of how to make one, then you can make them in all different kinds of sizes, and it doesn't take very long at all. So let's make a 3 millimeter corner jig for a 2 millimeter board, just to do it. This is a piece of matte board from like a picture frame. So any kind of thick chipboard will be fine to start with. And I'm going to slice off about 1.25 inches or a little better slice off of this. And that way I have the other half for another one if I want to. And it doesn't need to be this wide, so I'm going to cut it down. So I think I'm going to go 3.5 inches. So I have this little piece of chipboard that is 3.5 inches long and about 1.25 inches or maybe a little bit bigger, wider than that. Now I'm going to mark the center, turn it over and mark it on the side. So there is our middle right there. And I'm going to grab this ruler, zoom in here so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to line this ruler up so that one of these longer marks line up with the edge. And then I'm going to count in 1, 2, 3 millimeters, and I'm going to mark where that 3 millimeters is. So now that should be 3 millimeters away from the edge. Let me check it with the calipers. So it's 3.05. So I'm going to say that's close enough, Maynard. Zoom back out a little bit. I'm going to grab this little quilter square because it is easy to work with. If you don't have a quilter square, you can use the edge of another ruler or straight edge. It's just that the quilter square has the marks to make the 45-degree angle, so you can turn your square to where it's sitting like a diamond and line up the major line here, this up and down line, on the line that you're wanting to get the 45-degree angle for. And you line the edge of this corner right here. You line that up right at the edge of that 3mm line that you just marked away from the edge. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut this little corner out, this little triangle, and then that will leave that little 3mm gap at that end. You just have to be real careful because right now it can bend really, really easily because it just has this little 3mm space there that's keeping it together. So what I do is I take a thin piece of chipboard of some kind and I glue the entire shebang onto another piece of card very, very carefully. Grab some glue. If you have a 3D printer and you know how to work your 3D printer, you could probably print one of these out of resin and then you wouldn't have to back it up with anything. You just want to make sure that whatever material is on the back side, that it doesn't extend past this top board. So you don't want it to extend past on this side or you'll mess up your 3mm space. I'm just going to let this sit for a moment and let that glue do its thing. Cut the excess off. And there is your little corner jig. Let's take our cover material and our book board. And you just slide the end under and you line the corner up with the edge of that book board right there. And then you just cut off the excess book cloth. And now we have the 45-degree angle cut, but we still have that 3mm gap, so that we'll have plenty of material when we go to turn over the edges. And your book cloth doesn't have to be 3/4 of an inch away. I just say that because that is a general bookbinder's rule, but it can be an inch or 7/8 or whatever. That part doesn't matter. The part that matters is that distance away from the edge. And while your book board is sitting here and you're trimming out your book cloth, if this is the back side of the book cloth, you can take a pencil and mark around the book board so that after you pick it up and you paste it, then you know where to put the book board back down so that you'll still have that right gap measurement for your corners. All right, well, I know that was just a quick little video at the moment, but I didn't want to put it in with another video and then have it get lost. And then people go, well, where did you make those book corner jigs? And I'm like, I don't remember which video that was in. So it's going to have its own video so that it's easy to search for. I hope this technique helped you a little bit. You can buy these. People do print them out with 3D printers and stuff like that. So you can find them on Etsy and different places, so you can buy a set. But I usually end up making my own because I never know what thickness my board's gonna be. I will also make sure that these digital calipers, that they are listed on my Amazon favorites page, with the link is always below the video. They might not be at the top of the list. You might have to scroll down a little bit, but I love these calipers. I've had them for, I don't know, a year and a half or so. They're a lot more accurate than I am when I'm measuring with a ruler, so if you have the same problem as me, you might want to look into digital calipers. Alright guys, well that is all for this video. I hope everybody's having a great week, and I will see you really, really soon in the next video. Bye guys!